homestand continues tonight, having dispatched the team with the best record in the National League Central. They welcome in the team that spent the most money in the National League Central. And the fans are flocking to Shea to see the rebuilt Cubs. Tom Glavine goes to the mound trying to move closer to history as he goes for win 295. Soriano and the Cubs are in town to take on the Mets in a 4-game series, and it means a welcome home for Cliff Floyd, one of the most popular guys in the building. He's back in town as a member of the Cubs. At Shea Stadium in New York, the New York Mets play the Chicago Cubs. This game on SNY is presented in high definition by IO Digital Cable, the leader in HD. Do you see in HD? And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Shea Stadium. Well, you asked for it. We have the triumvirate, Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling. Mets and Cubs open a 4-game series, and the Cubs spent a lot of money in the offseason on pitching. The Mets stayed with what they had, and the Met pitching has been tremendous so far, led by Tom Glavine, who goes for win number 295 tonight, coming off a start against the Giants where he pitched just great.
He did. Despite the home run to Bonds, I thought it was the best stuff he had all year. A great fastball, and the thing about Glavine is that every time he toes the hill, he gives the Mets a great chance. They're 6-2 in his starts. 7 of his 8 starts, he's given up 3 earned runs or less. The classy pro that he is, making his 644th consecutive start. That's a National League record.
And the Mets are 10 games over 500. The Cubs, meanwhile, a game under 500 and struggling to find their offense, 9th in the National League in runs scored, and tonight without their best offensive player.
Well, Derek Lee, of course, the 2005 batting champion, hit .335 that year, his second year as a Cub, hitting .390 this year, leading the majors. He's out with neck spasms. He's in Chicago. His bat will be missed. He's a right-handed bat. He wears out left-handers. This is a Cub team that's only faced lefties 6 times. They're 2-4. They're hitting .243 as a team against left-handers.
And with Lee out of the lineup, that means Alfonso Soriano drops down from the leadoff spot to the number 3 hole. The Cubs will pitch Staten Island native Jason Marquis tonight, and of the entire pitching free agent class of 2007, he may be the biggest surprise.
Well, in 2006 with St. Louis, he led the league in losses and earned runs given up. So this year, with a 5-1 record, Marquis has been outstanding.
Not good enough to pitch in the postseason for the Cardinals last year, but leading the Cubs staff right now. Mets and Cubs start of a 4-game series at Shea. All the action on SNY. Is brought to you by Barbados, proud sponsor of the New York Mets. Experience the authentic Caribbean. By the New York City Health Department, reminding you that the nicotine patch and gum are available for eligible New York City residents ending today. For more information, call 311. By Hummer, visit Hummer.com to check out the H3 Hummer like nothing else. by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by IO Digital Cable, the leaders in HD and presenting sponsor of the Mets in high definition. Do you see in HD? Tom Glavine, 4-1 on this season. 294 wins in his illustrious career. The Mets are having a good time so far in this homestand, having won 2 out of 3 from Milwaukee. They've got David Wright back in a good groove, and things are hitting on all cylinders as the Mets open their series with the Cubs. First pitch coming up. Closer to his goal of 300 victories as he takes on the Cubs tonight. Here's your Ford Cubs lineup. Without Derek Lee tonight, Ryan Theriot in the leadoff spot. Soriano drops down to number 3. Aramis Ramirez struggling lately, although he does lead the team in home runs and RBIs. This is not the A lineup for the Cubs that they send out against Glavine tonight. Ryan Theriot leads things off, and Glavine gets it started with a fastball for a strike.
Let's see the numbers of Glavine. 4-1. Easily could have 2 more victories. He's going to have to be careful of Aramis Ramirez today. Ramirez 10 for 20 against Tommy with 3 home runs.
Gets the foul ball on the changeup, and Glavine trying to stop a streak right here. In each of his 2 Shea Stadium starts this year, he's given up a home run to the first batter to face him. Jimmy Rollins for the Phillies and Kelly Johnson for the Braves. Theriot not really a candidate to hit one out. And the streak is over. Glavine handles the comebacker and gets the first out of the night. So 1 out and nobody on.
The shortstop, number 3, Cesar.
Here's Cesar Izturis. Shortstop hitting number 2. He had a very good series in Philadelphia where the Cubs just concluded over the weekend, losing 2 out of 3 to Philadelphia. While the Mets were winning 2 out of 3 from the Brewers. And a strike to Izturis. Lou Piniella in his first year as Cubs skipper, and ornery as ever.
He's already on the umpire. Don't give him the corners.
Rolls over the changeup, and David Wright with the one hopper, and quickly there are two men down. So 2 out and nobody on.
And we're going to bring you the Mets defense, brought to you by Lexus. You see Delgado easily, boy, is he off to a great start. 5 home runs. Reyes right on that left side. That'll be there a long time. Chavez in left gets the start. Beltran and Green back in the lineup in right field. And Mr. Paul Loduco behind the plate.
So 2 out and nobody on, and here's Soriano. Off to a slow start this year. Drives one to right center beyond Beltran's reach, and Soriano's got himself an extra base hit. Cruises into second base with a 2-out double. Soriano with his 14th double of the year. That's up among the league leaders.
Well, swinging at that first pitch is Soriano. See the grip from Glavine? That's a fastball grip. So Tommy just trying to get ahead of Soriano, who's a free swinger. Usually does not ever let a fastball pass. That is not a horrible pitch, but Soriano with that crouch stance just has so much power.
Well, his approach right there, Ronnie, and is the proper approach. You want to take Glavine up the middle the other way if you're a right-hand hitter. And he just drove that ball into right center field for a double.
So here's Aramis Ramirez, and he fouls off the changeup. The Cubs are always, it seems, going back 30 years, a free swinging team.
Well, they've always been a right-hand hitting team, too, predominantly. I know they had Billy Williams there, the Hall of Famer, for a long time, but you had Ernie Banks, Ron Santo.
Lou Piniella trying to change the culture in Chicago, where the Cubs have not won a World Series in 99 years. Ramirez takes 1-1.
You know, in '84, Ronnie, when we battled the Cubs and we lost the division, they were predominantly right-hand hitting team. The only real left-hander they had in that lineup was Bull Durham.
Yeah, Leon Durham. They had Bobby Denier leading off, Jody Davis, Ron Say,
Ryan Sandberg.
Glavine gets ahead on Ramirez, 1-2. Aramis Ramirez signed a big contract in the offseason, 5 years, $73 million.
Well, he got fooled in the changeup.
He's got great numbers against Glavine, 10 for 20 with 3 home runs. Teases him with a changeup, and he laid off 2-2.
And Ron, I don't know if you watched the game, that Glavine's last game in San Francisco. He was just sinking on the corners from the get-go. Gary and I noticed from the first inning that he was just right, sinking change, sinking fastball in. He was on the corners.
Yeah, it's almost like he could throw it anywhere he wanted to.
And he was a ground ball machine in that game. This one in the air, shallow center. Beltran has to hustle, and he can't make the play. Soriano scores, and the Cubs take a 1-0 lead. Beltran just couldn't get there in time as he tried to make the shoestring catch. It's a base hit for Ramirez, his 24th RBI to put the Cubs in front.
Well, Carlos here is as fine a fielder there is in the game, a center fielder, and it just doesn't quite get it. And he played a pretty shallow. That's pretty shallow for Carlos right there, and he got a good break.
Keith, at some point he's got to decide: do I get that with the slide or the dive, or with just running up on it? He made the wrong decision, probably.
Matt Merton takes a strike. Do you think that he just misjudged how fast that ball was sinking? Because I expected him to slide going after that ball, but he never did.
Well, only Carlos knows, but if he dives for that ball, he probably catches it.
Merton, the right fielder, hits one in the air. Lots of time for Beltran to get under this one. And that retires the side. But after retiring the first two, Glavine gives up a double to Soriano and the run-scoring single to Ramirez. And the Mets down by a run as they take on Jason Marquis. with Aramis Ramirez's drive to center.
Well, we're going to watch Carlos here. He just gets a slow break on it and doesn't. Just that one little split second where he got the bad break, it looked like he wasn't really quite in a position to field.
Here's the Mets lineup tonight, sponsored by Geico. Moises Alou still out of the lineup and maybe headed for the DL. That decision has not been made yet, so Andy Chavez gets the start, and Damien Easley has been red hot. Jose Reyes had his 7th triple of the year yesterday, and he takes a strike from Marquis.
Marquis has been excellent. Only 30 hits in those 47 2/3. 5 of his 7 starts, he's given up 4 hits or less. That is not like Jason Marquis. He's one of those pitchers that usually gives up a lot of hits, a few walks, has lots of base runners, and at times will make that pitch to get himself out of trouble.
And his numbers are just outstanding across the board, working with his new pitching coach, Larry Rothschild. And Reyes lines one right at the second baseman, Terrio, for the first out.
Well, Marquis got the ball up last year, and this is a rocket. A big hang with him for Jose Reyes, right at Terrio. Nothing more to do than just, that's a pure reaction, and Major Leaguers are going to make that play.
So 1 out and nobody on. And here is Chavez hitting second in the order. He had down in the order yesterday with a lefty on the mound, and he takes a strike. And if you had to bet, you'd say that Moises Alou is probably going to end up going on the disabled list. Mets have to figure out who's going to pitch on Thursday, and that's when they'll probably be forced into a decision one way or the other. So that means more playing time for Chavez and perhaps as well for Carlos Gomez, who made his debut yesterday.
How about that defensive outfield yesterday with Gomez and Beltran and Andy Chavez out there? There's 3 center fielders out there.
And the perfect day for it with Oliver Perez on the mound.
And how does Carlos Gomez get rewarded? Grab some pine. Back on the bench.
He's happy to be in the big leagues.
Yes, of course.
He's got a 500 batting average. Take a day off. Enjoy it.
He's sitting on it.
And Marquis falls behind on Chavez 3-1.
For all you folks out there that didn't understand that, sitting on it means that usually in September when someone's leading the league in hitting and he sits down a game, you scream at him, what are you, sitting on that average?
Yes.
Chavez hits it right to the shortstop. His Turris, a former Gold Glover, and there are 2 away. So 2 out and nobody on.
The center fielder, number 15.
And the Rico defense for the Cubbies. Matt Merton in right field. Angel Pagan just called up in center. Soriano in left where he belongs. And it's Turris, the fine shortstop. Ramirez, the all-star third baseman. Terrio DeRosa playing first base because of Derek Lee out. And Henry Blanco, the veteran, behind the plate.
Carlos Beltran takes ball 1. Beltran hit his 8th home run yesterday. Now 29 RBIs. That's 9th in the league. This was yesterday in the 8th inning. Pink bat. Orange foul pole. 2-run homer.
What color does that make?
Pink and orange. Ugly.
Chartreuse.
1 and 2 to Beltran.
No one knows colors like you, by the way.
I got a nice little, a nice fan sent me a bunch of her favorite markers, like around 9 of them. So I thank you for that.
Got any new colors in the bunch?
I haven't had a chance to look at it, but I just got it a few moments ago, and I'll take a peek tonight.
It's hard to believe there's any color you didn't already have.
I know I got them pretty much colored. The color wheel's right in front of me.
Beltran grounds 1, and Terrio runs it down. And it's a 1-2-3 opening inning for Jason Marquis. So after an inning at Shea, Marquis with a 1-0 lead on Glavine and the Mets. The CW11's commuter cast. From traffic tie-ups to train delays, get up-to-the-minute time-saving traffic reports with commuter cast all morning long on the CW11 Morning News. Mark DeRosa leads off the second inning against Tom Glavine, his former Atlanta teammate. DeRosa, after a slow start, hitting at .245. And playing first base today, a position he had played only one game of in the major leagues before this season.
Well, you and I were talking before because I missed those years here at Shea when he played for the Braves, but he's a Met killer, you said, right, Gary?
Lifetime .364 hitter against the Mets. There's Cliff Floyd getting the day off today against the lefty. Playing time's been a little sparse for Cliff.
How big is that diamond? Hope he's got it insured.
That's Cliff. 3-0 to DeRosa.
Look at that.
He's trying to imitate Jose Reyes' stance, having a laugh with Jose at shortstop.
And DeRosa walks on 4 pitches. Well, Glavine had not walked a right-hand hitter in any of his last 4 starts, but he walks DeRosa leading off the second as we check out our Jeep around the majors. Fabulous comeback by the Red Sox, who are called a meltdown by the Orioles in the bottom of the ninth. Jorge Julio gave up the grand slam to Ryan Zimmerman on Saturday. Now he's a Colorado Rocky. And Jack Cust, what a week for him. 3-run homer in the bottom of the ninth to win for Oakland yesterday over Cleveland. That made Dan Barr happy. Dan Barr is our biggest Oakland A's fan. With the runner going, throw to first, and
Well,
it was a foul ball.
It was a foul ball. Well, what's the umpire to come on back here? He's saying.
DeRosa was as confused as I was.
Well, that's something we haven't seen, huh, Gary?
Hit and run.
Hit and run. I was shocked, speechless.
It was old school.
Well, the Cubs have had trouble scoring runs. I mean, they're 9th in the league in runs scored. They don't have their best lineup on the field today, and Lou trying to make something happen. And Henry Blanco takes a strike. 0-2.
Seeing Jorge Julio traded again, he's got to have dry cleaning strewn all over the United States.
Well, he's having pitching problems, and he's going to Colorado.
From Baltimore to New York to Arizona to Florida to Colorado in a little over a year, right? 1-2 to Blanco.
A struggling pitcher, and he's trying to find his way out, and he's going to Colorado. Jeez.
He needs Dr. Malfi from The Sopranos. That's what he needs.
Angel Pagan waiting on deck. And Blanco pops one up. LaDuca tracking it. Right near that dugout. He has just enough room at the railing. And then runs it back as DeRosa had tagged up at first, but going nowhere. Nice play by LaDuca, one away.
Absolutely a nice play. Had to negotiate the dugout there. And back in the old days, there wasn't that railing there to protect you. The days you had to catch a pop up there, you risk falling into the dugout.
And you see they've got the extra box out there that they put out for postseason games and for games between the Mets and the Yankees to put dignitaries in. They don't have anybody in there, but that shortens that space in foul territory.
Oh, hitters love it.
Here's Angel Pagan, who was just called up the other day, switch hitting center fielder.
We couldn't come up with one dignitary for the box.
I'm surprised. I figured for these games against the Brewers and Cubs, that at least put some seats in there and sell them, if nothing else. Pagan, who grew up in the Mets organization, sold to the Cubs 2 winters ago, and getting some playing time now as he lofts one toward the line. Chavez with the dive, can't get it. On to third goes DeRosa, and into second goes Pagan. And the Cubs have runners at second and third, and you're so used to seeing Beltran and Chavez catch everything. Well, not so far tonight.
Well, he gets there, he just misses it, and that's so, like you said, Gary. He is such a great fielder.
Jason Marquis.
We'll take a peek at his jump here. And his usual, he's right there after it. And he should have caught this ball, but he's human.
So now Jason Marquis, one of the better hitting pitchers in the game, and the Mets bring the infield most of the way in. And Glavine missing inside to his former Atlanta teammate.
3 former teammates in this lineup, right? DeRosa and Henry Blanco, I think, was
Right?
roommate
Yes.
of Glavine's.
He was in Atlanta for a couple of years. See how Lou plays this. You got a good hitting pitcher. And Glavine missing with the changeup, and it's 2-0. Marquis is a lifetime .218 hitter with a couple of home runs.
He's 3 for 20 this year, and the 3 hits, 2 of them are doubles.
A right-hand pitcher, but a left-hand batter. And he hits it toward the middle. Easily can't get it, and that'll bring home 2. DeRosa and Pagan in to score. Marquis with a 2-run single, and the Cubs have a 3-0 lead. And all the plays the Mets have been making this early season, they're not quite making so far tonight.
Well, we've seen several plays where the glove is there, Gary, and the ball goes under the glove.
Ryan Theriot.
Just another play where maybe he might have wanted to dive, keep the ball in the infield. Oh, he didn't get there. Just didn't get there. Tough play.
Ball just beat him, huh?
Just got by him.
Oh, with that runner at second base, you're supposed to at least knock the ball down as Theriot fouls it off.
If you can, yes. Always keep it in the infield. If you knock it down, only 1 run scores, and it's first and third, obviously. But he didn't get there. Tough play.
Are the Mets suffering from a Brewers hangover? Theriot hit a comebacker his first time up. Fouled away, and it's 0-2. Never could have ever said that before.
Well, they've enjoyed the National League Central so far. 5-1, 3-0 against the Cardinals, of course, and winning the series against the Brewers this weekend.
But you know what I mean? I mean, teams have let down sometimes after big series, and that was a very hard-fought series, even though the last 2 games ended up being lopsided. See the Brewers leading early in Philadelphia tonight. And the changeup misses to Theriot, 1-2. Do you ever feel that way when you were playing after you played a big series and you go into that next series? Now the Cubs, should bring out the best in everybody with all the high-profile guys they have, but
I think that can happen for players. It certainly doesn't happen for pitchers because every start is the same in a way. You know what I mean? Like, you can never go into a game because the team just played a big series as starting pitcher because you probably didn't pitch in that series. This is your series.
And it's hard to put a finger on it, Gary. What game and why is a team flat?
toward the right field line, Green getting over, and he makes the play. And Marquis tagging at first holds on, and that's the second out.
I'm not saying that the Mets are flat tonight, but usually the toughest game to play is always the day game following a night game. If ever you're going to have a letdown after a big series, if you got a day game the next day, that's a tough one. And always that game coming back from the West Coast. No matter if you had the off day and 24 hours off, you still were out of sync. You still were on West Coast time. That first game was always tough when you opened your homestand.
Here's Asturis, and he takes ball one. So the night game following Mother's Day is not usually the tough one.
A night game shouldn't be a game where, it should be, unless Mom overfed him.
Well, that could be a consideration.
Maybe too much apple strudel.
Is Oliver Perez, who was just magnificent yesterday on Mother's Day. And Asturis takes a strike, 1-1. Asturis grounded out to right his first time up.
And it could be as simple as Glavine, his last start was a ground ball machine. Look at that line.
Well, what a game he pitched, huh?
That was unbelievable.
Is Turris with a bloop, easily back, Green in, and it falls off easily and rolling away. Marquis heading home, and he will score. Another play not made. That's 4 of them by the Mets defense in the first 2 innings. As easily got an arm on it, but couldn't grab it. It's a double for Asturis. Not a single error among any of these plays, but it's a 4-0 Cubs lead.
Well, watch them. The right fielder's going to come in the corner here, Green. And this is a tough play right here. Someone's got to try to catch it. And obviously, I think that Easley does not hear Green calling him off because he didn't pull up, and that's a tough chance for Easley. And your outfielder's got to call off the infielder.
So it's 4-0 Chicago, and here's Soriano, and he takes inside.
Well, you can see Easley right here, and he's not backing off. He did not hear. Sean Green called it off, and it hit his glove. I mean, it's so much distraction. You're so worried about a collision and getting hurt.
Fouled just outside third. Well, yesterday we saw Carlos Gomez playing right field.
And probably if he's out there, there's no question who catches that ball.
Well, I think if you're a second baseman and Sean Green is playing right, you have to have in the back of your mind, if there's a kind of pop-up behind second base, I've got to get out as far as I can get out. Sean tends to play a little deeper in right field.
And he doesn't cover ground like he used to.
1-1 to Soriano, who fouls it away. But, I mean, these are all plays the Mets have been making.
This is like we're snake bit tonight. I mean, this is unusual.
Twilight Zone.
Yes.
I know that Tom Glavine is going to be standing on the mound, and he's been through it all, but even this, you say to yourself, well, wait a minute. I need a mulligan here. What happened?
Soriano fouls it away. And particularly on the balls in the outfield, because we watched this team play yesterday, 17 fly ball outs, and they made every play. But not tonight. And that's one of the beauties of baseball. You just never know from day to day.
Well, it's a game of inches, as they say, and a lot of plays are just out of the reach.
1-2 to Soriano, and he just missed inside. 2-2.
Well, we're going to show you Soriano, how spread out he is, and look how deep his back foot is, and how extraordinary it is to have his front foot so far forward. And so many hitters today are got their legs so far apart. And, you know, used to be only the slender guys could do that, like Dave Kingman. And you can see right there, I mean, that's just apparent for everybody to see. Look at that telestrator, driving me crazy.
Extra lines coming out of nowhere.
You guys said it's the Twilight Zone. Maybe with the telestrator also. Andrew Jones comes to mind, that he has that stance from the back of the box to the front of the box.
That stance has enabled Soriano to average 37 homers and 33 steals over the last 5 years, and that translated into 8 years and $136 million. And the changeup misses. 3-2.
No. It's never been a question about his offense.
And of course, when he went to Washington last year, they moved him from second base to left field. In the air to center and hit well. Beltran back, and he has enough room to track it down and end another bizarre inning for the Mets defense and Tom Glavine. A leadoff walk ended up costing Glavine 2 runs, and the Cubs have a 4-0 lead. Its fielding percentage has actually gotten better tonight, which will tell you how silly fielding percentage can be.
Well, this happened in the first inning right here. That's where it started. That was an RBI single. All these balls, folks, watch. It's just a matter of inches, just out of reach. And that's why I said it's kind of like the Mets are snake bit tonight.
Well, 4 plays not made, 4 Chicago runs, and the Mets having to fight uphill against a pitcher who's off to a great start this year. And Delgado leads off and hits the first pitch to center field. And Angel Pagan drifting, 1 away. So 1 pitch and 1 out for Marquis. And we'll get together in the dugout after that defensively challenged inning.
David Wright.
You know, baseball sometimes isn't fair. Tom Glavine has 4 runs on the board in 2 innings. Marquis had a scoreless first and gave up a bullet to Reyes right at the Terrio, the second baseman.
Howard Johnson serves as the Mets outfield coach along with Jerry Manuel. And what could he have been saying to Sean Green?
Well, how was Hojo an outfield coach when he played third base?
Yes, he did. But it's he who is taking charge right there.
Well, you know, you just know that the outfielder's got to take charge there, and I think Sean Green didn't feel he can get it. Someone's got to be the alpha male there and take charge.
Wright has to get out of the way, and it's 1-1.
Look at his pitch inside. That's one of the things that Marquis has been doing better as a Cub also. Backing the hitters off the plate, then to go away with that sinking fastball.
2-1 to Wright, whose bat has come alive over the last week. And it's a puzzlement. Hit hard, but right at Soriano, and he has to play it on the short hop. Ball sunk quicker than Soriano expected. A wicked line drive by Wright, and the Mets have their first hit.
Well, David's starting to swing the bat a lot better, and you can see Soriano out here.
The right fielder.
He is really a second baseman. You can see him kind of hesitate there, and that was the difference. And in defense of Soriano, he's not an outfielder, so David Wright's very happy about that.
He almost turned that into a triple.
So here's Green with 1 out and 1 on. Right now is a 7-game hitting streak, and Green takes a strike. Tell you what, though, Soriano is a better left fielder than he was a center fielder, which is where he was when the year began.
They led the league, right, in assists for Washington, but that's a misleading stat also because everybody's trying to run the bases on him.
Green hitting at .323, 9th in the league. And it's 1-1 to Shawano with the day off yesterday. Paul Lo Duca hitting 7th in the order on deck.
And the lineup does not suffer. Look at the Met lineup. I mean, it was Chavez hitting second. He's a terrific second hitter. Lo Duca's a terrific 7 hitter. Still a strong lineup.
Low and into Green, and it's 2-1.
I think it's a real indication, though, when you see the lineup tonight, and Lo Duca's still in that 7th spot that Randolph prefers him now down in that lineup. Because you would think that, you know, without, you know, that he might be in that second spot.
And I think also, too, Gary, I think Willie prefers David Wright in the 5th spot. David's starting to swing the bat better now. He's driven in 100 runs over the last 2 years. I think Willie put him in that 2 spot to get him some pitches to hit. He's starting to swing the bat better. He's going to be in the 5th spot.
3-1 to Green, and he lays off ball 4, and the Mets have 2 men on. So Marquis, after retiring the first 4, has given up a single and a walk.
The catcher, number 16.
Jason Marquis, 3rd in the National League in ERA and the lowest of any pitcher with a new team this year. Of course, the Mets beat a pretty hot pitcher yesterday.
That's pitching coach Larry Rothschild with Lou Piniella. He's been with the organization 6 years now, I believe, Larry Rothschild. He's got a nice, gentle way about him, and maybe that works with Marquis, who's been known to be a bit of a hothead sometimes.
So here's Lo Duca, who had the day off yesterday, and he pops it up. And Barossa makes a nice over-the-shoulder catch. Guy is not used to playing first base. And with that ball coming down over his head, Barossa, who was a quarterback in college, made like a wide receiver.
Yes, he did, and that is the key to making that catch, Gary, over your head like that. Is you just keep running. You think you got it, and it's one more step away. The tendency is to stop. Keeps going. It's like catching a long bomb.
DeRosa, a fine quarterback at the University of Pennsylvania after coming out of Bergen Catholic in Oradell.
Made like Warren Wells. Darryl Monica.
Bring one back. The Mad Bomber.
So here's Easley, whose bat has been red hot, particularly with the long ball. 5 home runs now in just 53 at bats. He's second on the club in home runs behind Beltran. And he takes the breaking ball, 1-0. Keynote address yesterday, first inning.
Well, from the belt up, he stays level, and that's why he's got the 5 home runs. And all of his home runs, Gary, if you look back, they've been from the waist up. There's a very level swing in that high pitch.
Fastest to 5 home runs in Mets history. Rocky, right at the top of the list. Ron Swoboda. Jim Hickman in there, guy who had the first 3 home run game in Mets history. And easily takes the fastball for a strike.
Is Ron Swoboda, I know he's always done the radio down in New Orleans, so is he doing it for the Mets
Yeah,
AAA?
he is. Wright and Green aboard with 2 out as the Mets try and fight back against Marquis. Easily hits it the other way, and Merton has plenty of room. And that retires the side. So the Mets get a hit and leave 2. Glavine doesn't get a time at bat. He'll go back to the mound, down 4-0. Of the game. Tonight's question: which Cubs offseason acquisition do you think will have the greatest impact? Marquis, Lilly, Soriano, Pinella. You can participate in the text poll from your cell phone or on the web. Text your response to 57508 or visit sny.tv to enter. Aramis Ramirez takes a strike from Tom Glavine. Ramirez drove in a run with a first inning single, a ball on which Beltran tried to make a shoestring catch but came up empty. Tom Glavine in an early hole in this game. Not helped out greatly by his defense. 2-1 to Ramirez.
Mike Riley, the home plate umpire, ever since Lou Piniella screamed at him in the first inning, his strike zone has gotten very small.
Matt Merton on deck. Popped up behind first. Delgado out where DeRosa made his catch. Does it more conventionally. And there's one away.
Well, it's a high pop up here, and you just want to get out there as fast as possible. And that's not any threat of getting near the stands, so it's just a basic pop-up and routine.
So one away. Do you think managers can have an impact on umpires? Barking from the dugout like that? I mean, Bobby Cox does it all the time.
I think so. It depends on the umpire, and I think that Piniella knows who he can and who he can't.
Burton swings over the changeup, 1-1.
Like Riley's a good umpire, a veteran umpire. I'm sure he's had a few battles with Lou over the years.
You think? On the inside corner, and it's 1-2. Well, before the umpires merged, Riley was in the American League, probably there when Lou was in Seattle. Struck him out with the changeup. So Glavine with his first strikeout of the night, number 2509 in his career, 2 away.
Well, this is a higher changeup, but look at the grip. Not only does he have it on all 4 fingers with the thumb wrapped around, but he jams that ball back in his hand. So when it comes out at 70, 75 miles an hour, and Merton way ahead of that pitch.
So 2 away. Here's Mark DeRosa, who walked and scored his first time up, and he takes a strike. Tom Glavine headed for the Hall of Fame with those credentials. 1-1 to DeRosa. Mark DeRosa got a chance to play full-time last year for the first time in Texas, and then signed a free agent deal with the Cubs. Did the Cubs not sign any free agents? Seems like they all signed with Chicago. First 1-2-3 inning of the night for Glavine as easily makes the play on DeRosa. On to the bottom of the third, still 4-0. Carlos Gomez sitting and watching after his impressive debut last night. One of 10 current Mets to make their debut 21 and younger. That's a lot.
Well, this was earlier today. That's not supposed to happen. That wouldn't have hurt him if it hit him.
Man down.
Working on bunting.
With his speed, you want him to learn how to bunt his way on. Glavine leads off.
Well, we had a chance to see Mr. Gomez a lot in spring, and he can fly. And it's just a matter if he hits. If he hits, he's got a long career.
And the Mets certainly expect that to happen. By the way, speaking of balls heading at players' heads, did you see what happened in the Angels-Rangers game last night?
I did.
This is not the first time this has happened either. Here's the situation. Hector Carrasco's on the mound for the Angels, throws a 70-mile-an-hour curveball that hits Ian Kinsler in the helmet. Alfonso Marquez is the umpire, throws Carrasco out of the game. 70-mile-an-hour curveball. to Hopper to Ramirez, and he throws out Glavine for the first out. Now, this is not the first time this has happened, and Marquez said after the game, anytime a player is hit in the head, we have to take action. Now tell me, is that umpires not understanding the difference between fastballs and curveballs, or is it a matter of the league office having sent out a directive that just doesn't make any sense?
Well, I'll say this. The directive stinks. And the reason it stinks is because you're letting the umpires decide when to throw out people in a game. And they don't do a great job of it. Simple as that. I don't know what else to say.
Has anybody ever thrown a curveball with the intention of hitting somebody in the history of Major League Baseball?
Me once, believe it or not. And it was Scott Sanderson. We're in Chicago in a doubleheader. Remember when Moreland charged Ed Lynch?
Yes.
In the second game, they threw at me the first. And Scott Sanderson is the nicest guy in the world and didn't want to hit me. So he threw me one slider behind my back, and then he threw me a slider and missed me. I walked on 4 pitches on 4 sliders, and I looked like Fred Astaire dodging them.
3-0 to Reyes. Okay, but the slider probably was at 70 miles an hour.
No, he threw it hard.
I mean, I just don't understand it. Umpires watch games every day, right? As Reyes draws a 4-pitch walk to Marquis. How can an umpire think that a 70-mile-an-hour curveball is thrown with the intent of hitting somebody?
Because they have in their mind a premeditated thought that the next person that gets hit, it doesn't matter what happens, that pitcher is going. And they don't take into account that, I didn't know, that's right, it was a curveball. Maybe I shouldn't have thrown him out. So that's the thing. They have that premeditated thought. Next person that gets hit, pitcher's getting thrown out no matter what. And I'm sure that Marquez would like to take it back today.
Maybe or maybe not, because again, we've seen it happen before. Here's Andy Chavez, and he takes ball one. Folks in Major League Baseball, they watch broadcasts, and if anybody from Major League Baseball has an explanation of how that happens, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Is it that there actually is a directive that says if somebody gets hit in the helmet, no matter what the pitch is, no matter what the intent, that something has to happen? Or is it the umpire made a bad judgment?
I think the umpire made a bad judgment, but they're under pressure from the office, from the commissioner's office, to really police the game. And this started with Frank Robinson when he was in the commissioner's office.
Reyes runs. Blanco's got a great arm, but he can't get Reyes. His 22nd stolen base of the year.
Well, a good throw here by Blanco. It's a short hop, but it had some mustard on it. And Reyes just got in there. He would have taken a perfect throw to get him.
Well, he might be able to short hop it with some people, not with Jose Reyes.
Who wasn't happy?
I guess the real test then for that directive, if there is one, would be would Tim Wakefield be thrown out?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Throw a knuckleball that hits somebody. 1-1 to Chavez, and he watches the fastball low, and it's 2-1.
Listen, being a pitcher 1,000 years ago and having to intentionally or wanting to intentionally hit someone, Keith will tell you. You know when he's coming at you. You can tell it before it comes, and usually you just take it and run to first.
Chavez hits it to center. Pagan back, and he makes the play, and Reyes back to second. Pagan playing very shallow, but able to retreat and catch the drive by Chavez for the second out.
Well, Endy hits this ball. Just tried to pull a little bit of a sinker, a little bit too much. Probably wanted to hit it to left center field, but Pagan just runs this ball easy. And Reyes, of course, you want to go halfway and then just get back to the bag.
So 2 out. Reyes still at second, and now Beltran, who grounded out to second base his first time up.
You're right, Gary. Pagan is playing a very shallow center, but when he was in the Mets organization, they said that Jose Reyes is one of their fastest runners. There are only 2 people they thought maybe ran faster than Jose Reyes, and that's Carlos Gomez on the Mets team and Angel Pagan in center field.
Pagan, a guy the Mets let get away basically for nothing. It was a straight cash deal. 2-0 to Beltran. 1-1 to Beltran, excuse me. But the Mets have so many talented young outfielders in their system now. I guess Pagan was just the odd man out. Reyes says Gomez is faster than him. I'd pay to see a race.
Gomez can fly. I think Gomez is faster, believe it or not.
Good cut by Beltran, 1-2.
I was talking to Guy Conti before the game. He said in spring training he had the stopwatch on Jose Reyes. He did a 4.340 and a 6.360. World-class speed right there.
Marquis ahead on Beltran, 1-2. And he struck him out with a changeup. Marquis with his first strikeout as he gets Beltran to end the inning. So the Mets unable to get anything going against Marquis, and they trail 4-0. The Cyclones are Brooklyn. Tickets for the Cyclones 2007 season are on sale now. Get your tickets at brooklyncyclones.com. It's a hot ticket. Get it now. Fourth inning, Henry Blanco leads off. Blanco fouled out to LaDuca his first time up. Michael Barrett getting a rare day off. Barrett is one of those catchers who's a throwback, plays almost every day. Where's that shot from?
Where does our director Bill Webb get these shots?
That is just great.
Look at him.
Straight
He can't
overhead.
help himself. He can't help himself.
Well, you're talking as though Webb is up there on the scaffolding himself. He's very comfortable down in the truck. But he knows where to send those cameramen.
He wouldn't get me up there.
There's a strike, 3-1.
Gary, talking about Barrett, he's caught the third most innings in the National League behind, or in baseball, sorry, behind Russell Martin of the Dodgers and Jason Kendall of the Athletics.
But you want to know how the game has changed? When Randy Hundley caught for the Cubs one year, now remember it's day baseball all the time then before lights, he caught 160 games one year. 160. Struck him out with a changeup, comes back from 3-0 to get Blanco, and Glavine has his second strikeout. One away.
That's a good changeup here. This one straight down. This is the changeup he had in San Francisco. I think he's just taken a little more speed off than he had in the first inning. Good grip, circle grip change. That ball just goes straight down.
Helped him get 12 ground ball outs in San Francisco as Angel Pagan takes outside.
Seeing Glavine, Ron, mixing in quite a few little sliders, or it's not the curve.
Yeah,
it's that breaking ball he threw against Bonds that Bonds took him deep, Gary, and said it was a slider to you, correct?
He said He said it was his first slider of that game after he threw 9 pitches to Bonds the previous at bat.
Was it his last? No, that's a good pitch for him, that little cutter slider. Like kind of a get-me-over breaking pitch.
Popped up, and Delgado's right there. And there are 2 away, so Glavine settling into a groove, has retired 6 in a row. In 2007, Hyundai, the Mets, and Sportsnet New York are teaming up to strike out cancer. For every K the Mets pitching staff registers, Hyundai, the Mets, and Sportsnet New York will make a donation to the Hope and Heroes Children's Cancer Fund. If you'd like to help, go to hopeandheroes.org. 2 strikeouts for Glavine today, 251 for the Mets staff this year. Here's Jason Marquis, who takes a strike. Marquis drove in a couple of runs with a single under the glove of Easley his first time up. A ball is big around here these days.
What's he trying to do?
I think he's trying to join the close-shaven club.
I think he's doing exactly what he wants to do. He's on TV.
Nice job. Slowly hit. Easley comes in to get it. And an easy inning for Glavine as he gets a 1-2-3. 7 straight retired by Glavine. Still 4-0 Cubs.
The Mets on the sour end of the score right now, but you know, you never know who you're going to run into the ballpark on any given night. And I just happened to run into this guy, Jim Cramer, host of Mad Money on CNBC. What's up, man?
Well, I'm telling you, as good as my show might be, this is the big show. And never forget that business is important, but sports is much more important than business.
All right, let me ask you. So tomorrow you're at work, and Carlos Beltran walks in, and he's got roughly $120 million, and he says, "Hey, I need to invest." Where do you steer him?
I don't mean to disparage a guy by the name of Bonds, but what he wants to do is buy bonds. Not that player, but the actual municipal bonds. See, once you're rich, you don't need to get rich again. All the players always want to go, they want to buy some common stocks. They're nuts. They're part of the richest people in America. They should just relax, get some bonds, sleep at night.
Let me ask you a question. How in the world are your sleeves down right now? What is going on here? The sleeves are rolled up to show you're riled up, and now you got the jacket on, they're rolled down. I'm confused.
You're absolutely right. I should have them rolled up. I am sensitive to the idea that I should be in character, but then again, I'm at the ball game, so maybe I'm relaxing a little.
How many times have you said booyah during the game? Has that happened a couple times?
I've said there's been about 20 booyahs between here and when I went to get the hot dogs, and a couple of multiple booyahs, and then there was a couple of stuttering booyahs.
When someone hands you back the change, is it like booyah, or how does that come out?
Well, a lot of guys get it wrong. They do booyah, you know, or they do booah. I mean, it's booyah. Is it that hard?
No, I think you're right. Hey,
I hate to criticize anyone who's a fan of mine, but, you know, there's a right way and a wrong way.
Real quick, one of the big parts of your show, the lightning round. So we'll do a lightning round. Let's pretend players or stocks. Do you buy or sell?
Okay.
Ready? Jose Reyes.
Oh, man, it's buy.
Barry Bonds.
Sell.
Mark McGuire.
Might have been buy one time, but now it's don't buy. Hey, you got to play by the rules, no matter what game you're in.
Jim Cramer, host of CNBC's Mad Money. The guy's a blast to watch, and thanks for letting me hang out today, Jim.
Thank you, man. Go Mets. Go Mets, all right?
All right, let's go upstairs. Guys, back to you.
Kevin, that was awesome. How'd you keep up with him?
It's not easy, guys. And he's revved down now. If we're on the show, I'd have no chance of keeping up with him.
Delgado draws a leadoff walk. I know you watch that show religiously, Keith.
I've seen it at times. He's right, though. Buy Bonds. If you got,
Well, if you got 120 million, yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
But how many people does that cover?
Very few.
Nobody I know.
2 guys on this field.
Yeah, well.
More than a few on this field. Even the 230 hitters can buy Bonds.
Here's David Wright, who has the Mets' lone hit today, a single to left field, and he's now hit in 7 straight games as his bat has come alive. And Marquis bounces one, 1-0. Well, maybe it was the head shaving, maybe it was just time. But Wright has started hitting since the Mets were in San Francisco. Sean Green to follow. Two and 0 to David, who had 3 stolen bases in the game yesterday. You know, we talked during the game, Ronnie, about Chris Capuano and his great move and the fact that nobody runs on him, and the Mets stole a couple of bases against him and wound up with 5 stolen bases for the day yesterday. As Wright hammers one foul. Were you a little surprised that Willie Randolph came out and said that the Mets had seen something in Capuano?
I was very surprised. In fact, you and I alluded to it, that maybe they had seen something in film. And not only Willie said it, David Wright said something about it. Usually they play that pretty close to the vest.
Why would you want to tell them?
I mean, they could face Capuano in a postseason game, potentially.
Keep that a secret.
It's like saying a guy's tipping his pitches. 3-1 now to Wright. I was shocked by that.
Well, you got to answer a lot of questions. Sometimes you make a mistake.
Yes.
Right? Lou.
That's Excedrin headache number 45.
It doesn't look like he has a 4-0 lead, does it?
Well, that's exactly why he's rubbing his head. It's 4-0 lead. He walked the leadoff hitter. He's 3-1 on the next hitter. That's why he's having a throw-late moment.
On 3-1, Wright hits one to right field. Merton back toward the corner, and it's out of here. David Wright with a 2-run opposite field home run, and the Mets are right back in it. It's 4-2 Chicago. Fourth of the year for Wright. Mets have 2 hits tonight, and David has them both.
Well, I thought he was beat on this ball and didn't hit it that good. But you can see he got the barrel of the bat right on it. He's looking to go that way, and this is what has been his success to get out of the slump, Gary. He's going the other way. Doesn't hurt to hit 3-1, too.
You know, we've seen some balls carry in the outfield on this homestand.
Well, you and I were talking about it. You and I, Keith, were talking about it to Just Clears the Fence. That with the construction of Citi Field and the big towers that they have, and when the facade goes around, it's got to change how the ball travels in this ballpark.
Here's Sean Green, who takes one way outside. Marquis all of a sudden struggling with himself, and that was after a visit by the pitching coach, Larry Rothschild. 2-0.
Keith made a good point before in between innings. He said he's never seen Marquis down in the strike zone as well as he was in those first couple innings. Fastball down on the knees, change up off of that, and this inning everything is up.
And he misses low to Green, 3-0. You know, Larry Rothschild was talking about Marquis and some of the things he tried to do with him this spring. He said, one thing I wanted to do is to stand tall on the rubber and stay on top of the ball, but the other is, as Green takes a strike, he said he's got to work on his emotions. He's very high strung. He gets upset with himself out there.
Well, there comes a point when you're no longer a young player and you're a veteran, and you maintain your cool out there.
Green hits it hard, but right at Terrio, and that's the first out. Saw that graphic about extra base hits by right-hand hitters against Marquis. The only 2 previous extra base hits by right-hand batters, a double by Morgan Ensberg and a home run by Yadier Molina, and now Wright has made it 3. And look at this. Rocky Cherry up in the bullpen in the 4th inning with the Cubs up 4-2.
Well, with Lou Piniella, you have a better chance of staying in the game if you give up hits. When you walk, guys, when you have a lead, I'm telling you, he has a short leash.
Lou gets very impatient and impetuous. He's a Portuguese, Lou. He's got that Latin blood in him. He can't help it.
Remember the way he'd run through young pitchers when he was in Seattle? When he was in Seattle, he had a 20-year-old pitcher named Mike Hampton. Watched him for 10 games, said, he can't pitch. Get rid of him.
Well, he's already had an incident this year with Ryan Dempster, who was out there trying to close the ball game. It was 30 degrees in Chicago. Ryan Dempster was fooling around out there, and he walked out to the mound. He said, listen, it's 30 degrees. Everyone's freezing. Throw a strike. And he just walked off the mound. That was it. Dempster threw a strike, by the way.
And a few more. Loduca just got a piece of it to keep the at-bat alive. Well, fans eat that stuff up. But not too many managers can get away with it these days.
Well, Lou has the respect now. He's managed a world championship team with the Reds. And you've got to respect Lou. He's a former player, fine hitter. What are you going to do? The manager still has some say here. So has clout.
2-2 to Loduca. Well, Lou has moved around a bit in his managerial career. Keith mentioned the World Series title in 1990 with the Reds. Not only did they win it, they swept the heavily favored A's that year.
Yes, they did.
And that solidified his credentials.
And that was Lou's first year in Cincinnati, so Chicago Cubs trying to catch some of that lightning in a bottle.
Larry Rothschild watching Marquis and trying to stay away from Lou if he can.
Well, there's some managers in baseball, and you know them. They're not big fans of pitchers. And Lou's one of them, I think.
3-2 to Loduca. It's been a hard-working inning for Marquis. And Loduca rolls one out to Terrio. And there are 2 out. So Marquis able to come back against Green and Loduca and get the ground ball outs.
I didn't know, Keith, it shouldn't be any different. That's how Lou played. I mean, he played with a scowl. He played like he did not like that guy on that hill.
Well, he was a very fiery player, and he was a very fiery manager. I love Lou.
Oh,
I would love to play for him.
Yeah, same here.
Well, so far this year, Jason Marquis has certainly responded to playing for Piniella. And Damian Easley pops it up, and that'll get Marquis through the inning. Terrio has had a busy inning, and he makes the play to end it. But the Mets get closer after a leadoff walk. David Wright going the other way and getting just enough of it. His 4th home run of the year has the Mets back to within 2. place to break down the sports issues of the day. Join the panel of special guests as the discussion and debate rages on in the heart of the media capital of the world. Daily News Live weekdays at 5 with encores at 11 p.m. and 1:30 a.m. only on Sportsnet New York. Here's our Aflac trivia question for tonight. Carlos Gomez yesterday had 2 hits and a steal in his major league debut. Who were the 4 other Mets who have accomplished that in their big league debuts? Ryan Theriot leads off against Tom Glavine, who's a little closer now at 4-2, having retired the last 7 hitters in a row. Theriot's at a comebacker and flied out to right. 2-0 to Theriot. Meanwhile, in Washington, Jason Bergman, kid from Rutgers, no hitter. Now through 6 against the Atlanta Braves. They go to the bottom of the 6th, 1-0 Washington.
He's been great for the Nationals all season long.
Big hop for Reyes. And he guns down Theriot, and that's 8 in a row now for Tom Glavine. Time for a City Baseball Night in New York update. Let's go to the studio in Matt Yellow. All right, Matt, we'll keep you up to date on that as Cesar Izturis stands in and takes a strike from Glavine. Izturis had an RBI double his first time up, and he drives one the other way, and Green gets over and makes the grab. Sean Green reacting quickly to that line drive off the bat of Izturis, and there are 2 out, and that's 9 straight retired by Glavine.
Well, that's what veteran pitchers do. He got off to kind of a rocky start. Not a lot of things went his way. If you have a young pitcher out there, he'll start to get frustrated, and maybe it'll turn 4 runs into 6, 7, 8 runs. And instead, he kept his cool, put up a few zeros. The Mets scored a couple runs. Now he's back into a close ball game.
Here's Soriano, who doubled and scored in the first, flied out in the second, and he takes the changeup up and away. Soriano hit 46 home runs last year with Washington, and that's in a ballpark where it's very hard to hit home runs. As you look at Glavine's pitch count up to 72, and another changeup misses high, and it's 2-0.
Imagine Soriano like in Philadelphia, or
well, in the summertime at Wrigley Field when the wind is blowing out.
Yes.
but half the season it doesn't.
Yeah,
so
that's
you
right.
know.
You're right, Ron.
He's got only 4 home runs this year, but he missed some time with a hamstring injury in April, and that hammy is still bothering him. He says he's running about 85% right now. So that certainly affects his running. I don't know how much it affects his hitting. I mean, here's a guy you expect to be a 30-30 or even a 40-40 player. He's got 4 homers and 5 stolen bases right now.
Well, you look, the Yankees let him go. They went to Texas in 2004. It was a good Yankee team.
Well, they let him go for A-Rod.
Yes, right. They traded him, and, Soriano did not want to leave New York. That is for certain. He was very happy up there in the Bronx.
Second walk for Glavine. And now Aramis Ramirez up.
I'll never forget that home run Soriano hit in the World Series off Schilling. Schilling was just mowing down the Yankee hitters, and Schilling came out of nowhere, hit that line drive to left center.
Ramirez 1 for 2, and he takes a low and inside. The Cubs have 5 hits in this game, and arguably 4 of them could have been caught or defensive plays made. So it's not that Glavine hasn't pitched well tonight.
I don't think that Glavine's going to let Soriano, the rest of this game, Soriano and Ramirez beat him. He's kind of had his way with Matt Merton. If anybody's going to beat him, it's going to be Matt Merton.
Merton hitting behind Ramirez in the 5-hole. Again, Soriano has not been running much, but he's running here, and LaDuca's been throwing great, but that one short-hopped easily, and he couldn't make the play. So Soriano with his 6th steal of the year.
Well, this is a great jump, and not much LaDuca can do. And he's been throwing terrific this year, and Soriano just had too good a jump. He just went when the pitcher broke. He said if Glavine had tried to pick him off, he would have picked him off.
So I guess the Hammy's feeling a little better.
Well, maybe he set everybody up with the 85% comment.
Well, that came after he failed to score from second on a base hit Saturday and got criticized for not hustling on national TV.
Well, this is one of those places after he's run and stolen the base, first base open, that Aramis Ramirez is going to have to get himself out. He's going to try to dictate pitches that are down in the strike zone or out of the strike zone. And if Ramirez decides to chase one to try to get an RBI, he's going to have to get himself out, because I don't see Glavine throwing a strike here.
Nope. But Ramirez is their RBI guy, so how much do you want him to expand his strike zone in this situation?
Good point. Frank Thomas is one of those guys who never would.
But he's not going to go out and get that one, and so it's back-to-back walks for Glavine, kind of a pitch around there.
Matt Merton's going to have to be the man.
But seriously, when you have a guy like Ramirez, who right now is the big bat in that lineup with Derek Leon, you got Matt Merton on deck, Glavine is handled. Do you want your cleanup hitter to go off the plate there to expand a little bit?
If he gets something close, but you got a pitcher out there that knows that too, is not going to. He crowded him once. I just don't think Tom's going to give him anything where he might be a Manny Sanguian and be a bad ball hitter.
Matt Merton takes the changeup out of the strike zone.
I've pitched against guys that in that situation, guys don't do it anymore, where you'll catch them. They will inch up on the plate like a right-handed hitter, will get really close to the plate and try to say, okay, if it's a couple inches off, I'll try to drive that ball. It's a ball outside.
And now Glavine behind on Merton, 2-0. I'd like to go after here. Merton's flied out and struck out. So trouble starting to brew for Glavine with Soriano and Ramirez aboard, and the pitch count up to 83 for Tommy.
Starting to get a little chilly here, isn't it?
Wind's picked up.
Temperature right around 60. And now it's 3-0 to Merton with Mark DeRosa on deck.
That's a good eye right there by Matt Merton, and that's a Glavine nibble right there. And I say that with respect. It's 2-0, a young hitter. See if he'll go fishing, and he didn't. Now Glavine's 3-0. He's in trouble.
And Merton takes a strike. Jason Marquis nursing his ego after that last inning. And it's ball 4. 3 straight walks issued by Glavine after the first 2 were retired. And now the bases are loaded for DeRosa.
I'd like to know how many times in Tom Glavine's illustrious career he's walked 3 in a row. Not too many, I bet.
Well, as Peterson comes out, I will tell you, as a pitcher, sometimes when you start getting in that mode of pitching around people, it's tough to already have you been trying to throw balls out of the strike zone, and then you got to turn it up a notch and throw strikes again. Sometimes it takes a couple of pitches to do that. Tommy wasn't able to do that against Merton.
So now Glavine's got to take on DeRosa, who, as we mentioned earlier, has been something of a Met killer in his career, going back to his days with the Braves. Mark grew up in Jersey, grew up a Yankee fan, grew up a big Willie Randolph fan.
Of course, he's a second baseman.
And now trying to do some damage against Willie's team. Bases loaded, 2 down. And Glavine starts him off with a fastball strike. DeRosa has walked and grounded out. There are his career numbers against the Mets. He has been a royal pain. Changeup missing, 1-1.
Again, a very good eye by DeRosa here, much like Merton in his last at bat. You just can't let Tom Glavine expand the strike zone on you, and it's difficult.
Popped foul and out of play. And now Glavine 1 strike away from getting out of this mess.
It's just amazing, the philosophy of different ball clubs and personnel. The Brewers came in here. There wasn't a pitch they didn't see that they did not want to take a swing at. And then you have the Cubs in who are much more patient. Two to DeRosa. I I think that's a show-me pitch there. Something inside to go right back to that changeup outside.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if he doubles up inside, or I think he's going to go to the changeup. I agree with you, Ron.
Double up is a good option, though.
And LaDuca inside. DeRosa pulls it down the line, but hooking and foul. A nice catch by that fan in the front row. I came to the game and I got myself a souvenir.
Sign him up.
Play of the night. And that cell phone will be ringing any moment.
The gloves need some glove oil, by the way.
He got it on the second grab. Bases loaded, 2 down. DeRosa inside out's one foul, and it's still 2-2.
Interesting pitch sequence. Fastball in, changeup in.
And that's what Rick Peterson did with Glavine. Convinced him to throw a changeup inside to hitters. Well, it's awful risky.
Whoa. Coming inside again. Just got a piece, and that will clip LaDuca. Another changeup. So Glavine pulling out the stops here against DeRosa, trying to keep this a 4-2 game. Key moment for Glavine with the bases loaded and 2 down in the 5th. Three and 2.
Very interesting right here.
As a pitcher, I'm saying to myself, he seems to be laying off that outside pitch very well. Come back in.
Merry-go-round will be in motion, and DeRosa gets under one to center field, and Glavine works his way out of trouble. Beltran with the grab, and despite 3 consecutive 2-out walks, Glavine makes the big pitch in the big spot to stay in the game. A question, shall we? After Carlos Gomez got 2 hits and a steal yesterday, who were the other 4 Mets who had the same? Rod Gasper, Lenny Dykstra, Keith Miller, and Preston Wilson, who actually had 3 hits and a steal in his Mets debut.
I remember Keith Miller's.
You do? I remember Lenny's, because Lenny's was in a game I pitched in Cincinnati against Mario Soto. Mookie had hurt himself. I think his shoulder was barking. Lenny came up, unbelievable game. After the game, I figured, go give the young guy some props. I said, hey, Len, great game. He goes, thanks, dude. He goes, "Where are we going tonight?"
1-2 to Glavine.
That's typical.
Well, I remember Preston Wilson's debut here at Shea. Preston played, I think, 8 games for the Mets. Then they traded him to Florida to get Mike Piazza. Glavine fouls it off. By the way, in Washington, Jason Bergman is now through 7 with a no-hitter against the Atlanta Braves.
What'd you say, Gary? He's got 10 punch-outs, too?
10 punch-outs, 1 walk, 86 pitches. Now, yesterday, Sean Markham got pulled with a no-hitter going for Toronto. But that was his first start of the season. And so they took him out after 78 pitches.
Bergman has pitched in tough luck all season long, and Nationals got him all of 1 run tonight.
He's pitching against Smoltz, who's given up only 3 hits himself. Well, Glavine working a tough at bat here against Marquis after falling behind 0-2. Right back to Marquis, who's got plenty of time to recover. And that's the first out. So Marquis retired the leadoff hitter, 4 out of 5 innings.
The shortstop, Jose Reyes.
And here's Reyes. Jose hit a bullet line drive that was caught his first time up. Then he walked and stole his 22nd base of the year in the 3rd.
That on-base percentage right there, 416. Boy, you love that from a leadoff hitter.
Goes the other way toward the left field line, and Soriano jogging over to get it for the 2nd out. So 2 away for Endy Chavez.
Marquis, by the way, doing pretty well on his pitches. 74 here into the 5th.
Had the 1 long inning in the 4th when he was 3-2 on everybody. And trying to bounce back with a quick inning here. Send Glavine right back to the mound. Endy's bounced to short, fly to center, playing left field again today with Moises Alou still sidelined. Thought about the bunt and took the curveball 1-1. Well, by the way, said he felt a little better today, but I'd be surprised if he doesn't wind up on the DL. Drops down the bunt. Marquis off the mound, has to hurry and throws it away. DeRosa took a hit and he's shaken up. That's how Derek Lee got hurt last year.
You've got to be careful over there in that bag. This is another terrific bunt. Chavez just is a terrific bunter. Throws into the line. You know, you really don't have a chance to get the runner. Why even?
And Ramirez got in Marquis' way here.
Now, Marquis had a chance to field this, but Ramirez ran right over him. And
you were right here. I didn't notice that.
And DeRosa, not an experienced first baseman. I mean, Cliff Floyd here at Shea Stadium back in his Expos days got his arm broken in 7 places on a play like that. And Derek Lee missed most of the season for the Cubs last year on a similar play.
And Cliff will remember that too. That was Cliff didn't want to play first base. He had a bad experience down in Florida playing first base.
So it's a bunt single for Chavez, and now Beltran the tying run at the plate. It's never had much luck against Marquis, just 2 for 16 now after going 0 for 2 tonight. That's with just their 3rd hit. Chavez aboard with 2 down. And Beltran takes a strike. Canelo's fun to watch in that dugout.
Oh, he's great. He's a pacer.
1-1 to Beltran.
You know, I saw some of the notes today about Lou. He's one of the many managers who's won 90-plus games with 3 different teams. But I didn't know there's only one manager who's won 90-plus games with 4 different teams. Because usually those guys stay around a lot longer.
Who might that be?
Dick Williams.
Yep.
Of course.
In the air to right field. Burton back, and plenty of room to make the play. And that ends the inning. And Beltran got under that one. And Marquis able to escape trouble in the 5th. On to the 6th, 4-2 Cubs. Alfonso Soriano and the Chicago Cubs. Go to Mets.com now for your print at home tickets. John Maine will make the start tomorrow night against Carlos Zambrano. Henry Blanco leads off the 6th inning for Chicago. It takes a strike from Glavine. Mark DeRosa getting worked on in the Cubs dugout after taking that hit from Chavez.
Alan Trammell, the bench coach for the Cubs, a Detroit shortstop for many years.
Tigers manager.
The greatest thrower of the ball from short to first. Every time you'd see him, he threw that straight overhand, and it was a straight chest high to the first baseman almost every time.
It's a pretty good middle infield right there. Him and Lou Whitaker at second base.
I think they were a pair longer than any second base shortstop combination in history. You see Trammell's lifetime numbers. Toward the hole at short. Reyes with time with Blanco running. And he guns him down by a couple of strides. One away. Blanco can throw, but he sure can't run.
And Jose can throw.
And run. Here's Angel Pagan. Pagan making just his 3rd start for the Cubs this year. Cubs have a glut of outfielders. And Piniella has rotated them all around. He's got Cliff Floyd and Jock Jones on the bench tonight against the lefty. Pagan takes ball 1.
Soriano hurt his hamstring. They brought up, is it Pie?
P.A.
P.A.?
Felix P.A., who's their center fielder of the future, they say. In the air to Wright along the line. Out goes Easley, and he makes the sliding play. Well, after all the plays the Mets couldn't make earlier in the game, Easley is able to make this one a fine one.
Well, I think the infielders know that when Sean's out there in right field, they got to cover a little more ground, and this is just a really, really fine play right there by Easley.
The pitcher.
See where he starts? Quick check where Green is. Nice play.
He had that one little glance and knew that he was the only guy who could catch that ball. Marquis swings at the fastball. It swung out of his socks. Singled up the middle to drive home 2 his first time up. And those runs right now the difference in this game, and he lines his 2nd hit of the night. So Marquis, we told you, a fine hitter, and he has shown that tonight. Let's check out the Mets' upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets home games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IO Digital Cable to UC in HD. 3 more with the Cubs, 2 night games and a Thursday afternoon affair before the Yankees come in over the weekend. And then next week the Mets go to Atlanta and Florida for some division games.
Ronnie, you're coming to Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I love that pocket schedule. I just wish they'd put my name or your name at the bottom, because I'm seeming to have a hard time remembering when I'm working this year for some reason.
Well, that's okay. If you both show up, that works for me.
Okay.
We haven't been all together for a long time.
That's right.
No, we haven't. It's been a while.
Ryan Terrio shoots one foul. I mean, I get to see us together in cartoon land, but that's a little different.
Well, Ronnie, Gary and I have been pining for you.
Oh, yeah, sure you have.
Oh, we pined for you over the weekend, Keith. Where were you? Did you have a nice time over the weekend?
I did. I went out with dinner with Rusty. He came out and spent the night with us.
Terrio grounds one down to Wright. Handles the hop and makes the running throw to end the inning. Mets come up down by 2. Delgado, Wright, and Green trying to make a dent. Party with SNY on May 24th. Head to the back page on 83rd Street and 3rd Avenue for a Mets Live on SNY viewing party. Join us for the game at 7:30 for the Mets, food and drink specials, and more. Here's your New York Lottery in-game box score. David Wright has 2 of the 3 Mets hits, one of them a 2-run homer. But the Mets a little shy on the offense tonight against Jason Marquis, who's trying to win his 6th straight start. It'll be Delgado, Wright, and Green. Delgado drew a leadoff walk in the 4th, right in front of Green's home run, in front of Wright's home run. But you see the numbers on Carlos, still trying to get some kind of consistency going. Had a couple of home runs last week, one in San Francisco and one here, but it's been hard for him to get any kind of run together.
He has just been, one day he looks like he's coming out of it, and then the next day he regresses, and it's a long funk for him.
Well, let me ask you a question. 1988, go back in time. Let's say you've gotten off to the same start as Delgado has. Is there when is there panic, or is there ever panic, or?
Well, this is almost going on a month and a half, and I never had a month and a half.
Okay.
But we're different hitters. He's a power hitter, you know, and he takes a home run swing where I didn't, you know, and line drives hitters don't go in prolonged slumps like the power hitters can. See, he's swinging under a lot of pitches. That's what I've seen, and he's having enormous difficulty. Watch, he's under the ball, and he's reaching for the ball away, and he's having a lot of trouble with the outside pitch. And they pop him inside him once in a while.
Marquis has just one strikeout tonight. Delgado pops it up. Soriano, the only man who can catch it, but he can't. And Delgado's aboard.
Wow.
Well, with the shift on and no shortstop out there, Ramirez, the third baseman, had no chance, and Soriano had no clue. And Delgado's got a base hit.
Well, Soriano's right there playing very deep. And he's there to make the play. And all of a sudden, he just pulls up.
Just didn't judge that ball well.
Well, that's why he's a 4 in Stratomatic.
What's good?
One.
So David Wright, tying run at the plate, already has a single and a 2-run homer tonight. And David takes going inside. By the way, in Washington, Brian McCann, leadoff home run in the 8th inning to break up Jason Bergman's no-hit bid.
Wow.
Rocky Cherry, the right-hander, Will Oman, the left-hander, in the Cubs bullpen. There's a strike, 1-1. The Nationals, by the way, with a 2-1 lead in that game on the Braves in the 8th. Mets a half game behind the Braves starting the 9th. Nationals had a great weekend. Swept Florida. Wright hits it toward the home base hit. And now the Mets have the tying runs aboard with nobody out. And that's going to be it for Jason Marquis. Lou made that signal almost before he left the dugout. He wants the lefty to face Sean Green.
Little Sparky Anderson here, Captain Hook.
5 innings plus is all Marquis gets in his bid for his 6th straight win. I think he's a little shocked.
He might be 5-1, but he's not really being treated like he's 5-1.
Leaving after 86 pitches, and Will Oman will come on to replace him. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Switch to Verizon Fios, TV, internet, phone. It's the most advanced fiber optic network straight to your home. Done after 5 innings plus. And 29-year-old Will Oman takes over to face Sean Green with the tying runs on base in a 4-2 game and nobody out. And Green takes a fastball for a strike.
Well, Will Oman throws awfully hard. Missed a couple of seasons when rehabbing an elbow, 2002 and 2003, and set a lot of his career marks last season for the Chicago Cubs.
Was in 78 games last year with Chicago. Green is 0 for 1. And that one finds the corner, and it's 0-2 to Green.
Now, Shawn Green right here is the reason why he's such a good hitter is that with 2 strikes, he goes the other way. Now, Ullman has thrown 2 straight fastballs on the outside corner. Boy, I tell you, I would not throw him a pitch away for a strike.
Green fouls off the fastball.
Just throws hard, Ronnie. You're right. Got a good arm.
So you're saying one of the reasons that Shawn Green is sitting so high this year is that he recognized what the pitcher trying to do to get him out. He makes the adjustment. He'll go the other way if he has to.
Pretty much straight up in the outfield on the defense.
And Pagan very shallow in center. Breaking ball fouled away.
You know, there's a certain situation, Gary, when you bring up Pagan playing shallow, and you're correct. He's playing shallow. Here we are in the 6th inning, and you've got the tying run in first, and a go-ahead run at the plate. You might want to play a little deeper. Play shallow, fine, but play situationally.
Soriano also shallow in left. Marquis looks on. And Green tries to lay off. Did he go? He went around. So Ullman fans the first man to face him, 1 away.
Well,
that's going to be the only man that Ullman faces.
Well, we're going to give you a pitch sequence. Fastball outside corner, belt high, 0-1. Fastball away, 0-2. Fastball meant to be away in. He fouls it back. Hanging slider, he missed it. And then the hard slider in the dirt.
And so Ullman did his job getting the lefty out, and the rookie right-hander Rocky Cherry will take over for him. Mets trying to rally in the bottom of the 6th. Live. Sign up today for MLB.tv, an unparalleled live baseball experience. For more details, visit Mets.com, where baseball is always on. 6'5" Rocky Cherry takes over the pitching.
He's only been healthy 3.5 months out of the last 2 seasons. Last year, hurt his finger, went through Tommy John surgery, so they tried to ease him back in the bullpen, and he's really taken off. 92 to 93 mile an hour heavy sinker. Got a good plus slider also.
Made his big league debut April 23rd, and in the 12th inning gave up a home run to Prince Fielder. Now faces Loduca with the tying runs aboard. Delgado at second, Wright at first, with 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Jason Marquis had a 4-0 lead. Wright hit a 2-run homer off him in the 4th, and he got the quick hook from Lou Piniella here in the 6th. Ullman struck out Green for the first out, and now Cherry facing Loduca. Ball is 0 for 2 tonight. And Cherry misses outside.
Well, this is a Cub bullpen that has 9 losses and only 8 of 14 in saves, save opportunities. That's 57%. So it's been a weakness of this ball club.
Ryan Dempster's done a good job, the closer. But the rest of that bullpen, particularly the setup guys, have struggled.
4 of the last 5 losses for the Cubs, they've had the lead after 5 innings, and they've coughed it up. And those are those middle guys you're talking about, Gary.
Well, here's another number for you. The Cubs in 1-run games this year, 2 and 7.
Ouch.
That'll drive a manager to the roll leads. One and one to LaDuca. Pulls it over the bag down the line. Delgado to third, being waved home. Wright to third, he'll stop there. It's a run-scoring double for Paul LaDuca, and the Mets are to within a run. It's 4-3. Only the second double of the season for Paul LaDuca.
Well, it's a hanging slider right here.
See the grip with the seams, that thumb tucked. Try to throw it like a football, make it spin, but it's just a helicopter on the inside part of the plate.
And good hitting by LaDuca. Right down the line. Remember, this started innocently with a pop-up down the left field line that Soriano should have caught. And that opened the floodgates here for the Metsies.
So now the tying run is at third. The infield back. They'll concede that run on a grounder as Easley takes a slider for a strike.
Well, it's the plays that have not been made in the outfield for both teams that are reflected on the scoreboard.
Well, these are the kind of wins that you love to have. The come from behind wins.
Easley's 0 for 2 tonight, but he's had big hits all week. And he takes a strike, the backup slider.
2 hangers in a row, actually, and that one backed up inside, Ron.
I think that has a lot to do with Damon Easley just not knowing Rocky Cherry. Another slider. That one is the same one that LaDuca hit.
I'd be afraid to throw another one.
Talked a lot about the Mets having trouble getting runners in from third with less than 2 out. Easley's 0 for 1 in these spots. Lays off the slider.
Very interesting how the Cubs are playing the corners in. Mark DeRosa at first base is in. A ground ball ties the game. Base hit to the hole there. You're losing.
Saw David Newhan out on deck to pinch hit. 1 and 2 to Easley. He's got to put the ball in play here. And he gets it in the air to center field. That should get the tying run home. Pagana's got it. Wright races home with the tying run. Sacrifice fly for Damien Easley. And the Mets have come from 4 runs down to tie the game 4-4. And Lou's hunch going to the bullpen early here in the 6th has not paid off.
Well, he wants a high fastball, but not a strike. And I kind of question that, Ronnie,
Yes.
with Easley being a high ball hitter.
Not only is he a high ball hitter, what you're telling the hitter is that I'm going to throw something that you can hit in the air in a sacrifice fly situation. If you're going to go up, it's got to be head high.
So the Mets have drawn even. That's got Glavine off the hook, and now they'll bat for him. David Newhan with a chance to give Glavine the lead with a base hit. And he takes a breaking ball for a strike. Newhan on Saturday afternoon hit his first home run as a Met, a 2-run shot, as Joe Smith gets ready to pitch in the 7th inning. Fastball, and it's 0-2.
Well, last pinch hit for Newhan was a first pitch fastball home run.
Take a base hit right here.
Now he's behind in the count 0-2. And he waves at the slider and he goes down on 3 pitches. But the Mets are able to draw even in the 6th. They put together 3 hits, got the sac fly from Easley. Glavine's off the hook. For the Mets, as we go to the 7th inning, Mets have come from 4 runs down to tie. Of course, a relief pitcher's day doesn't necessarily begin when he comes into the game.
Well, the pitchers will work on their breaking ball. Feliciano saying, I'm going to throw a changeup. And Joe Smith acting like a hitter. And then Billy Wagner, of course, who plays a lot of long toss to get loose before the games.
Got to get your running in.
Group running, you don't see that very often anymore with the pitchers. Usually they do a lot of the running on their own. But
Didn't you have more long distance running?
a lot of long distance running. Mel Stottlemyre has 20 poles for starting pitchers every day except the day you pitch.
Cesar Izturis takes ball 1. And for Joe Smith, this is the first time we're seeing him after a bad outing.
Only went 2/3, gave up those 3 runs and 3 hits. But more importantly, that grand slam to J.J. Hardy, who could do no wrong over the weekend.
Pedro Feliciano staying ready, but it's all right-hand hitters due up here after Izturis. And the slider pulled foul, 1-2.
That's always interesting for a guy like Joe Smith. Everything has gone perfectly for. Now coming off a bad outing, it'll be interesting to see how he reacts in this game.
Nope.
Got a tough guy on deck in Soriano and another one behind him in Ramirez.
Well, he wasn't going to go his whole career without giving up a run. Tom Seaver gave it up too.
Well, not many guys go a month and a half into their career, though, without giving up a run.
He's been absolutely letter perfect, and he just had his one bad day. I think it started with that first pitch he threw in the inning.
Right.
Hit the left-hand hitter.
Gabe Gross.
This the outside corner, and now a full count to Izturis. Little flare, and that's going to fall into left center. And so a leadoff single for Cesar Izturis. And now Smith's going to have to face the big guys with a man on.
Well, fastball that gets up in the strike zone is just down. It's a ground ball, but when it's up, even a smaller, kind of a punch and Judy hitter, Cesar Izturis, will fight that off the left field. It's kind of harsh, punch and Judy. Sorry, Cesar.
Oh, jeez.
Well, he doesn't have a lot of power.
But that's what he is.
A ping hitter.
Ping better, right? Punch and Judy's kind of harsh.
That's great.
Slap hitter.
Got to get my baseball book out. Some other options for Punch and Judy.
Punch and Judy.
So Izturis aboard for Soriano, and this is a huge spot for Joe Smith. Soriano tonight a double and a walk. He's stolen a base. He's scored a run, 1 for 2. By the way, quite a comeback for Tom Glavine after those first 2 innings when his defense betrayed him. And Soriano takes ball 1.
Well, you don't win 294 games on your way to 300 without having the ability to pitch in all kind of different situations, and gives the Mets a great effort after those 4 runs in the first 2 innings and goes 6.
And he'll get a no decision tonight. Soriano to second, should be 2, easily to Reyes, and back to first. Double play, 2 men down. There's a huge double play for Joe Smith. 2 out.
Well, he kept the ball down. This ball's ripped. And he kept it down, and that's why he got the ground ball. Taylor made.
Well, you talked about it, Keith. That ball is down. If it's not down, Soriano usually will put the ball in the air.
It's not a strike. And a good at bat for Soriano. He went right with that pitch. It just right at him.
Ramirez grounds the sinker foul. Aramis Ramirez had an RBI single. Ball that eluded Beltran in the first inning. Since then, he's fouled out to first and walked. Duca getting hit on the back of the hand there.
I see that so often today. That never used to happen.
Well, guys swing with that one hand.
Yep, they let go.
The follow through at least is with the one hand.
Surprised it doesn't happen more.
Yeah.
Cliff Floyd with a bat in his hands. I was talking to Cliff tonight. I said, you know, you're not playing that much. He said, how you pinch hitting? He said, horrible. He said, I've always been a horrible pinch hitter. He said, Lou will use everybody else before he uses me. Reyes to his left and tosses on Ramirez to end the inning. So Joe Smith gives up the leadoff single and then gets through it. Nice bounce back effort for Smith. Top of the order up. The Cubs into Shea for the first time this year. The Mets victimized by some poor defense in the first couple of innings and fell into a 4-0 hole. Not the usual turn of events here at Shea. Mets struggled early against Jason Marquis, but then David Wright got them going with a 2-run homer. And against the Cubs bullpen, the Mets able to tie it in the 6th. And now at the top of the batting order coming up in the bottom of the 7th, looking to take the lead for the first time tonight. Jose Reyes leads off against the rookie right-hander Rocky Cherry. Thinks about a bunt and takes ball 1.
And boy, the corners are in, aggressively in, as they should.
Reyes 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. He's stolen a base. One and 1 to Reyes. Well, Jason Marquis was pulled after 5 innings plus with a 4-2 lead after just 86 pitches. Winds up getting charged with 4 runs and 5 hits because Cherry allowed a couple of inherited runners to score. Reyes hits it in the air, deep right center field. Going back, Pagan back near the wall with Merton, and Merton, no, Pagan made the catch. Just enough room as Pagan and Merton came together right at the fence for Pagan to reel it in.
Well, what a catch. They both had it covered here. I thought that ball had a chance to go out of here, and it didn't. That's a long way to run for Pagan. That's a nice play.
Especially with somebody running into you.
Well, Merton has struggled in right field all season long after moving over from left.
So one long out for Andy Chavez. I think Reyes thought he had it too.
He may have got it towards the end a little bit. I thought he got it.
Up the middle, smothered. Terrio with a flip, but there's no way his Turris is going to get Chavez with his speed. And it's an infield single for Endy, his second hit of the night.
Well, all Endy does when he plays is continue to get base hits. This ball's hit hard. Nice play by Terrio. Nice. No chance with the speedy Chavez, but nice effort anyway. But Endy, you can't say enough about Endy.
Neil Kotz is up at the bullpen for the Cubs. Chavez has not attempted a stolen base this year. He's the go-ahead run at first with 1 out. Beltran is 0 for 3. And time called. The Nationals have beaten the Braves 2-1. Jesus Colome struck out Andrew Jones with 2 men on to end it. And Chad Cordero is still on bereavement leave for the Nationals.
He's either supposed to come back. I think tomorrow he's coming back. His maternal grandmother passed away.
That's 4 straight wins for Washington, so the Mets have a chance to regain first place with a win tonight with the Braves losing. And the slider misses to Beltran 1-0. That's quite a game for the Nationals tonight. Jason Bergman, 7 no-hit innings, broken up by Brian McCann's 8th inning home run, and then the Nats hold off the Braves in the 9th. Carlos Delgado waiting on deck. Chavez diving back.
Yeah, he's watching Chavez at first, but he better pay attention to Beltran because that slider, if he rolls one up there to Beltran, that is right in his powerhouse, isn't it?
Yes, indeedy.
And he misses low to Beltran 2-0 and holding that ball a long time trying to freeze the runner. And looks like he's throwing himself out of whack.
Well, right now is just a good pitch to hit.
Michael Wirtz, the right-hander, up next to Neil Kotz, the lefty in that Cubs bullpen. Cherry couldn't get the job done in the 6th when he gave up LaDuca's RBI double and easily sacrificed fly. And now the Mets trying to jump on him here in the 7th.
Try to shoot the hole right here, 1st and 3rd.
On 2-0, Beltran watches low, and it's 3-0. Larry Rothschild looking on. Lou Piniella looking disgusted. Beltran loves to swing 3-0 if he gets his pitch.
I think he'll be taken here. I'd be surprised if he gave him a hit sign.
Ball 4. And now the go-ahead run moves to second base, and Lou's seen enough of Rocky Cherry. He'll no doubt bring the lefty in to face Carlos Delgado. He is a trip to watch, isn't he? Got the puffy lips going and everything. The sign goes out for Neil Kotz. The Mets poised to try to take the lead here in the bottom of the 7th as Piniella goes to the bullpen again to get the lefty. SNY text poll results for tonight. Which Cubs offseason acquisition will have the greatest impact? You said Lou Piniella.
Wow.
Well, Lou's had an impact on his pitching staff tonight. He's been thoroughly disgusted. Just about from the start of the game. Big crowd gathered for a Monday night at Shea. First of a 4-game series with the Cubs.
Met fans.
Nothing like seeing yourself on the big screen at the ballpark. Neil Cott spent 4 years with the Chicago White Sox. Now he's on the other side of town.
And when traded over here to the Cubs, that's the first trade between the inner city rivals since 1998. 195 games Cotts has appeared before this season in the last 3 years.
Cotts grew up in Illinois, although in the southern part of Illinois down towards St. Louis. Brought in to face Delgado, who's 1 for 2 and a walk tonight. And Carlos takes the inside fastball, 1-0. Delgado got the 6th inning rally started with a pop fly that Soriano did not catch. That fell for a hit. Carlos has hit lefties this year far better than he's hit righties. Great speed on the bases with Chavez at second and Beltran at first. Mets once trailed this game 4-0. Now trying to take the lead. Delgado to second, could be 2. As Torres makes the turn and Cotts comes in and gets a huge double play to keep the Mets off the board. So that move worked for Lou Piniella. Still 4-4. The 7th, Joe Smith stays on to pitch the 8th for New York. And Matt Merton will lead off for the Cubs. Merton 0 for 2 and a walk. Remember that Lou Piniella's got some pretty hefty left-handed bats on his bench tonight. Cliff Floyd, Jacques Jones, Darrell Ward.
Yeah, Willie's got 2 lefties out there to counter with, so he can keep them on the bench.
0-2 to Merton.
A pretty impressive job by the Cub left-handers, Will Ullman and Neil Cotts.
Cotts getting the double play grinder from Delgado as Feliciano stays loose. Glavine went 6 innings, allowed 4 runs and 6 hits, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. Cliff waiting for his turn. Right to the shortstop. And Reyes guns down Merton, 1 away. So after giving up the leadoff hit to his Turris, Smith has gotten 3 straight ground balls.
Well, Reyes uses 2 hands. He's got such soft hands. And guys can do all the proper fielding techniques, but if they got bad hands, they got bad hands. Reyes has got soft hands. And I just can't say enough of how he has come as a shortstop.
Soft hands and fundings.
Basic fundings.
32, Darrell
That's
Ward.
true, though, isn't it, Keith? It's almost innate. Guys either have the soft hands or the hard hands.
Right.
And you can teach a guy to be a better fielder, but it's hard to teach him to have soft hands.
Correct.
Well, here is the aforementioned Darrell Ward batting for Mark DeRosa to get a left-hand bat up, and Willie's going to respond.
Absolutely.
By bringing in Feliciano. Well, Lou's got only one right-handed bat available on his bench, and that's his regular catcher, Michael Barrett. Could then play Barrett at first base if he wanted to go that way, but see what he has in mind. Meanwhile, Smith got his job done over an inning and a third, and now Willie goes to Feliciano to take on the left-hand hitter. A 4-4 game as the Cubs bat in the eighth. .com for live traffic updates from the CW11's Commuter Cast. Check with Commuter Cast before you hit the road to find the fastest way home or the easiest way to Shea. Let's check out our Toyota out-of-town scoreboard. 7 no-hit innings for Jason Bergman tonight as the Nationals beat the Braves, and John Smoltz 2-1, so the Mets have a chance to regain first place. Tom Gorzolani with 7 shutout innings for the Pirates tonight, and they lead the Marlins, who just got swept in Washington over the weekend. And the Brewers leave here and go to Philly, have a 6-2 lead. J.J. Hardy, another home run. Later on, the Reds and Padres, and the Cardinals and the Dodgers, who have a 3-game lead in the National League West, and go with Brett Tomko tonight.
Well, Pedro Feliciano in the game, and has just been outstanding. Gave up his first earned runs in the last ball game, the same game that Joe Smith gave up the grand slam.
Well, there were his runners out there,
Yes.
and Joe Smith didn't clean them up.
Darrell Ward has only had 1 at-bat against a left-handed pitcher this year. In fact, he's only had 18 at-bats overall, playing behind Derek Lee at first base. Playing time has been tough to come by, but he might get some now. That's a good breaking ball by Feliciano to start him off.
And Lou's really stretched because he doesn't have that many right-handed bats. Is that good breaking ball from Feliciano? Last year, Ward was 1 for 17 against left-handers.
Played for the Nationals and the Braves last year. You see him flail at that breaking ball. And Feliciano stays with it. And it's 1-1.
It's important to remember that Feliciano dropped down last year for the first time. They got him to drop down, and he's so much more confident this year. I think he's been better this year than he was last year. And he had a terrific year last year.
He had a great statistical year, but I think you're right, Keith, that he's throwing the ball better. He's used that sinking fastball a lot, too, to the right-handed hitters.
2-1 to Ward. Little dribbler out to Wright. Picks up the spinner and throws out Ward, and there are 2 away. Ward just overmatched against the lefty. So 2 out and nobody on, and here's Hank White, Henry Blanco.
Thought it was a rare error you made there. I know how you enunciate names.
Just instantaneous translation. Usually that's your job. Blanco is 0 for 3. Fouled out, struck out, grounded out. And Feliciano keeps it away from him. Blanco not much of a hitter, but he's got occasional power.
I think that Feliciano too, Ronnie. is better against right-handers. Last year he was a little vulnerable to right-handers. He's got that backdoor slide into that changeup he throws.
And now he's behind on Blanco 3-0. Blanco takes a strike. You got a switch hitter on deck in Angel Pagan.
These are the situations you want to stay out of a guy like Blanco, because
in the air to left, and Chavez coming in toward the line. And the Cubs are down 1-2-3 against the combination of Smith and Feliciano. At 11:30 for an event to get you ready for the Subway Series. There'll be ticket giveaways, and we'll be there. Ron and Keith and Lee Mazzilli and I for pictures and autographs Friday 11:30 a.m.
Who says?
Don't miss it.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, you're not coming?
you're such a rebel.
David Wright 3 for 3 tonight, including a 2-run homer. Facing the left-hander Neil Kotz, and he takes the breaking ball for a strike.
I'll buy you lunch if you come, Keith.
I'm coming.
Okay.
Will you pose for a picture with me?
Well, of course.
Oh, good.
Pleasure.
Michael Wirtz in the Cubs bullpen. And another breaking ball and another strike, and Kotz ahead 0-2. Billy Wagner hoping for a save chance if the Mets can get him a run here in the 8th. Grounded foul. Well, the Mets were down 4-0 when David came to bat in the 4th.
Well, we didn't think he got this ball, like a fly ball, but he got enough of it. Very strong.
Fourth home run of the year.
David, very strong.
Ooh, just a bit outside. That'll turn your hair away.
Won't take their caps off more than Lou Piniella and Larry Rothschild. It's supposed to be a slider down and in, and it's just a spinner away.
Struck him out. Neil Kotz fans David Wright, one away. Time for a baseball night in New York update. Let's go to the studio and Matt Yaloff. Here 4-4 in the 8th as Sean Green steps in against Neil Kotz. And takes the slider inside. Sean is 0 for 2, and I hate to say this, but since cutting his hair, he's 1 for 17.
Ooh, I told you, don't change a good thing.
But he agreed with me that he was more aerodynamic. Thus, he was able to leg out that triple, which is that one hit. Paul LaDuca on deck. Kotz behind 2-0. Green with a big cut at the fastball, and it's 2-1.
Well, a high fastball here out over the plate. Just as a power swing right there, the down swing.
That's a guy who once hit 49 home runs in a season. He's got 4 this year. Little dribbler goes foul. 2-2 to Sean.
The organ, I like it.
Don't hear it very often anymore.
Particularly in night games.
A Sunday afternoon kind of thing these days.
Yes.
Whatever happened to Jane Jarvis on the Thomas organ? Green toward left center, but Soriano over. And there are 2 out. Green taking his hacks against Neil Kotz. Now it's left to LaDuca with 2 out.
Kotz is throwing pretty good, isn't he?
Both Ullman and Kotz have been outstanding. A good breaking ball. Throws strikes.
And not afraid to throw his fastball.
LaDuca greeted Rocky Cherry with a run-scoring double in the 6th inning. LaDuca 1 for 3 on the night. Fouls it back.
Well, a good cut by LaDuca right there. Oh,
Is that a wig?
that's work.
If that's not a wig, that is a lot of work.
It's like Artis Gilmore, circus 1972.
Night and day right there. Jeez, complete opposites.
Breaking ball fouled off.
Can we see that shot of that fan again? Mr. Webb, could you find him again?
Wow, that is.
That's got to be a wig.
I don't think so.
That's a lot of work.
That could.
So is that.
He couldn't play in the Mets right now.
Up and in. Did he go? Nope. First base umpire Jeff Kellogg with the call. LaDuca's still in there.
Good call. It's so many times you see umpires almost like an automatic ring up today. You're always surprised when they say he didn't swing.
On 2-2, LaDuca grounds one to short, and his Turris handles it. LaDuca flinging the bat away, and the Mets are down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 8th. On to the 9th with the game tied 4-4. And Pedro Feliciano, who got the final 2 outs in the 8th, stays on to face the switch hitting Angel Pagan. Pagan is 1 for 3, doubled back in the 2nd, a ball that just fell beyond the reach of Endy Chavez. He's popped up twice since then. The Cubs have had just 2 hits in the last 6 innings. And the breaking ball misses inside, 1-0. Michael Barrett, getting the day off today, has come out on deck to pinch hit for the Cubs. He's the lone right-handed bat available to Lou Piniella. And now it's 2-0 to Pagan. Ryan Dempster, the Cubs closer, getting up just in case they present him with a safe chance. And now Feliciano behind Pagan, 3-0.
This is what happened to Feliciano in his last effort on Saturday. He got through the original inning, sent out there for his 2nd inning. He proceeded to give up a single and a one-hit batter.
And Joe Smith came on and hit a batter, and then the whole inning fell apart. Aaron Heilman staying busy in the Mets bullpen, and Pagan takes a strike. Tom Glavine went the first 6, fell behind 4-0, victimized by shoddy defense. Mets took him off the hook. Joe Smith went for an inning and a 3rd, scoreless. And Pagan grounds it out to Reyes. Throws out the speedy Pagan, 1 away. A nice comeback for Feliciano, 1 down in the top of the 9th. And now Michael Barrett will bat for the pitcher. The Mets will be happy to get Neil Kotz out of the game.
Was outstanding.
Your attention,
3
please.
pitches for
Pinch hitting
the
for the
left-hander
Cubs.
that he threw for
Number
strikes.
8,
Little
Michael
change-up
Barrett.
slider and that good fastball.
LeDuc out to the mound, perhaps to buy some time for Heilman here. But if you bring Heilman in, you'll probably see Jacques Jones or Cliff Floyd. So which matchup would you prefer? Barrett's sitting at .258, 5 homers, 19 RBIs, and he has a pinch hit home run this year. There you look at the lineup sheets in the dugout. They go with the one highlighter, Keith.
Very unimaginative.
So Feliciano will stay in to face Barrett. And he misses away, 1-0. On deck is the right-hand hitting Ryan Theriot. Hit hard, easily on the backhand, makes the pick and throws him out. Ball hit off the mound and easily had to stay with the hop. And there are 2 away.
Well, I'll tell you what, you can watch right here where Easley first starts. This is not, that's a tough hop right there. Nice backhand, in between hop. The throw's the easy part. The stab was the tough one. Nice play.
Sometimes when that ball up the middle hits the mound on the upslope, it takes some of the speed off that hard hit ball.
1-0 to Theriot. Terrio's gone 0 for 4 hitting leadoff tonight. Normally that's Soriano's spot, but with Derek Lee out of the lineup, they move Soriano down to the 3 hole. And Theriot leading off. And again, Feliciano is behind in the count. Michael Wirtz joins Ryan Dempster in the bullpen. Probably Wirtz if the game is tied, Dempster if the Cubs get the lead. And Feliciano trying to keep them from getting the lead. The Mets will have 8, 9, and 1 coming up in the bottom of the 9th. And now he's behind again, 3-0. Second time in the inning that Feliciano's fallen behind 3-0 with his Turris on deck. He bounced back to get Pagan the last time, and he throws a strike to Theriot, 3-1. Willie Randolph, Rick Peterson planning their strategy for this 9th inning. They're going to need a pinch hitter in the bottom of the 9th. Going the other way and down the line, Terrio's got an extra base hit. Chased by Green, Theriot to second and in standing with a 2-out double. So Ryan Theriot with his first hit of the night, and now the tie-breaking run is at second.
Well, that play by Easley now looms large. And this ball is second and third written all over it with one out if Easley doesn't make that play. Terrio can run a little bit, huh?
Willie Randolph heading to the mound, and he's jogging, which makes you think this is a strategy conference. You've got the switch hitting his Turris up. Soriano on deck. You got to go after his Turris, you would think, even with first base open.
And that's it. He's going to make a move.
So he'll turn his Turris around, bring in the right-hander. His Turris has been better right-handed than left, although he's had far more at-bats left-handed. And Howman will make him a left-hand batter. So Feliciano exits after an inning and a third, and Howman comes on to try and clean up. Cubs had a 4-0 lead in this game after 2 innings. 4 plays that Met fielders did not make behind Tom Glavine that led to those 4 runs, but the Mets rallied to tie. David Wright a 2-run homer. Loduca and Easley with RBIs to get the Mets even. Feliciano got the last 2 outs in the 8th and the first 2 here in the 9th. And practices the slider with the water cup.
Working on his mechanics. Heilman into the game. 3.86 ERA. You've seen how the left-handed hitters, though, are hitting .318 off Aaron.
Got the final 2 outs yesterday, and the Mets 9-1 win. But Friday night against Milwaukee gave up that 2-run homer to J.J. Hardy. And it's been a struggle for Aaron. He's given up 3 home runs now this season.
That has been a nemesis of his. He's given up the long ball in tough spots.
Turris not a long ball threat, but right now a single could give the Cubs the lead. Turris 2 for 4 tonight, a single and a double. Neither one of those balls were hit hard. One of them went off Easley's glove. The other one just fell into shallow left center. Terrio the tie-breaking run at second with 2 out. And as Turris cues one back to the mound, boy, did that have spin on it. And Heilman throws him out to end the inning. A Massey shot. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Mets looking to win it in their final turn at bat. Tied at 4. 4-4, and Michael Wirtz will try and hold the fort for Chicago.
Well, he spent his entire career with the Cubs. 2.66 ERA last year. He has stranded all 11 base runners, inherited base runners this season.
Mets will have 8, 9, and 1 in the order up against Wirtz in the bottom of the ninth. Easley, then a pinch hitter, and then Reyes. You see the numbers on Wirtz, who has been very impressive so far this year and has earned a little more responsibility late in games for Lou Piniella.
Well, with his good pitching and Bob Howry's inability to get hitters out so far, he's moved up the pecking order.
So here's Easley, who's been very big in late inning situations. His sacrifice fly tied this game in the 6th. And now Easley, who's got 5 home runs this year, looking to put a charge in one here as Gotay comes out on deck to pinch hit. And Wirtz with a letter high pitch, 0-1. Easley, spectacular late in games. Little tapper out in front of the plate. And Wirtz gets him one away. So 1 out in the last of the 9th. And now Ruben Gotay had been out on deck, but he's called back. And Julio Franco has come out to pinch hit instead.
Well, Gotay was going to hit to bunt. And since the out was made, now you're going to go with your hitter. And Gotay would probably pinch run for Franco.
Mets technically have an extra player on the bench right now with the call-up of Carlos Gomez and Pelfrey being set down. But the question is whether Moises Alou is available at all to pinch hit, and we don't know that. Now Lou's suffering with that strained quad and may well not be even available to swing a bat. Gomez, of course, could pinch run if you get anybody on here.
He's thinking about it. He's got his helmet.
So here's Franco looking to get aboard to get something started here with 1 out in the last of the 9th. Julio is 3 for 9 as a pinch hitter this year. Started the game yesterday at first base and had a rough day, went 0 for 4 and struck out 3 times. And Wirtz starts him off with a fastball, 0-1. We are rapidly approaching Julio Franco's 49th birthday. Wow. Reyes waits to follow. One and one to Julio. If only there were a swimming pool for him to aim for at this juncture in the ballgame.
Like the home run he hit in Arizona. They do have some room there between the first baseman Ward and Terrio at second baseman. Shoot a single through there.
Cubs more interested in guarding the line right now. Michael couldn't go upstairs to find that. 1 and 2.
Well, Julio, it's a tough job, and when you're getting older, it gets a little more difficult, but that's where you want to pitch him, Ronnie.
You can beat him upstairs. Anything down middle is the pitch that he will handle.
One and 2 to Franco. Struck him out. So Wirtz handles Franco, and there are 2 away. And so it's left to Reyes.
Well, good pitch. He just really reared back and just fired this ball right by Franco. Michael Wirtz does have an outstanding fastball. That was 92 miles an hour. Also had a lot of movement.
So 2 down in the last of the 9th. Reyes 0 for 3. His last time up, he had a long drive to right center that Pagan ran down. Swings over the off-speed pitch, 0-1. Mets have not played a lot of extra inning games this year, only 2 of them. They've won them both. But if Reyes can't get it done here, they'll be heading to extra innings tonight. 1-1 to Reyes. Jose with 2 home runs this year. Andy Chavez waiting on deck. Reyes goes up the middle, base hit. And the Mets get the potential winning run aboard. And now the only question is, how quickly will Reyes try to steal second?
Well, it's the right time to do it. He's just such a good hitter now. That's the beauty of watching these guys come up. The Mets have got a lot of kids off the farm. You can see their development. I mean, just big leaps. It's just he's one of the great players of the game today.
So now will Chavez be patient enough to let Reyes steal the base? He's got 1 tonight, 22 for the year. And Wirtz makes the first of what will probably be many throws.
Well, that seems to be the Cubs' MO. The first ball, they'll pitcher will hold for a long period of time, then throw over. Probably asking, why does the pitcher hold the ball so long? For base runners, they hate when you hold it a long time because they kind of get their feet stuck in the sand, staying in one place too long.
Reyes trying to get the measure of Wirtz. Not going, and Chavez takes ball 1. Now remember that whatever jump Reyes gets, Henry Blanco's got a gun behind the plate. Darrell Ward playing first base now after batting for DeRosa, handling that throw.
Always easier for that left-handed third baseman, the first baseman, sorry, to apply that tag.
1-0 to Chavez. Reyes runs. It's a pitch out. Blanco with the throw. It's high. And Reyes steals the base. His Turris tried to deke him into thinking the ball was in center field, but Reyes didn't buy it. And now the potential winning run is at second.
Well, the perfect pitch out, and you got a catcher, as Gary, as you said, that can throw, and he makes a bad throw. He had a shot to throw out Reyes. Not a good jump. They got him.
So now it's 2-0 to Chavez. A base hit could win it for New York. That Cubs outfield, remember, is playing very shallow. But it would take a heck of a throw to ever get Reyes on a base hit to the outfield. Ball 3. Well, Chavez has already had a walk-off hit this year. Would have to do it slightly differently tonight. A drag bunt against the Rockies gave the Mets a victory. 3-0 to Chavez with Beltran on deck. Ball 4, and so it's left to Beltran. Chavez on base for the 3rd straight time. Larry Rothschild will head to the mound to talk to Wirtz before he pitches to Beltran. You know, in past years, you'd want to bring a lefty in to face Beltran in these spots. Of course, the Cubs have already expended their lefties, but this year, Carlos has hit almost 500 as a right-hand batter.
Yeah, the Mets switch hitters, Reyes, Beltran, have really improved from that side.
It's all on Wirtz here. No action in that Cub bullpen.
And Scott Air, his lone reliever, is off to a terrible start. His ERA is almost 9, so
had a 4-0 lead in this game. Got a little itchy in the 6th and took Marquis out with a 4-2 lead. And the bullpen allowed the Mets to tie, and now Mets hoping to grab a last at-bat win. Beltran is 0 for 3 and a walk tonight. And he takes ball 1. And I wonder, is it possible that part of the message was the guy on deck is ice cold, don't be afraid to walk him?
Well, you know, 1 run wins the game. Doesn't matter if the bases are loaded. But you want your pitcher out there monkeying around.
Now it's 2-0.
He already walked Chavez on 4 pitches.
And if you were to walk Beltran, it's hard to go back to strike mode with the bases loaded. A lot of pressure.
2-0 to Beltran. Ball 3. Didn't throw him a fastball. It looks like he's pitching around him.
Yep.
Look at Lou.
He wants to give him intentional ball 4. Which is exactly what they'll do. So an intentional walk with runners at first and second. This pushes the winning run to third. And of course it means a wild pitch, an error, an infield hit. Any one of those things could win the game, as could Carlos Delgado just hitting a line drive somewhere.
Just always hate to intentionally walk someone with a good hitter, no matter if he's in a slump. A good hitter like Delgado, an RBI guy. I always hated that because good hitters rise to the challenge.
Rise to the challenge, and all good hitters are proud hitters too. Do not like to have the guy walked in front of them.
Delgado's had 1 career at bat against Wirtz, 0 for 1. Reyes the winning run at third, and now time was called. I thought for a moment maybe they had called the balk. Reyes is leading down the line from third, and the third baseman Ramirez against Delgado is way off the line. Would you consider stealing home? Would be a heck of a way to win. Delgado takes ball 1.
Well, if you're paying attention on the bench, Wirtz has thrown all the left-hand hitters away. Just a base hit to left field. Easier said than done, but that would be the approach.
Delgado takes it wide. Ball 2. He walked Chavez on 4 pitches. He pitched around Beltran, fell to 3-0, and finally intentionally walked him. And now he's 2-0 to Delgado. A walk would win the game.
It's just hard to walk people, then intentionally walk someone while you're trying to pitch around them, not throw a strike, and then come back and be on the corners again.
There's a strike. 2-1.
And Delgado was taking all the way there, which shows me, to see the bases are loaded, that Delgado doesn't feel quite right.
On the outside corner, and Wirtz gets even.
Well, he might have got a call from Mike Riley, did Michael Wirtz. It's a fastball that runs a little outside, but didn't move very much, did Blanco.
Reyes faking down the line, trying to induce a balk if nothing else. Fouled away. I mean, Aramis Ramirez is playing a good, 25 feet off the line?
If Wirtz was in the windup, I think you might see Reyes go. A right-hander is just looking right at you. Hard to take that chance. All fastballs from Wirtz. Be interesting if he continues with that or tries at least one breaking ball down and in to Delgado.
4-4 last of the ninth. Bases loaded, 2 out. Fouled away.
Oh, he had a good cut on that hanging slider, Ronnie.
He was on that.
Look at this. He's just been under everything. He's on this pitch. He's just under it.
Outside, ball 3.
Look at
The merry-go-round will be in motion. Fouled away. 8 pitches into the at-bat. Still going.
This is part of what you were talking about, Keith. A proud hitter, even though he's struggling. Rise to the occasion. Good at bat by Delgado.
He's making Wirtz work, that's for sure.
Driven foul. Got ahead of it and ripped it.
That might have been ball 4.
Tough one to take, though.
All right, yes.
Wirtz is throwing 9 pitches to Delgado. And Lou may lose it. Ball 4, and the Mets win it. Delgado waited out Wirtz, a 10-pitch at bat, and he draws the bases loaded walk to win it for New York. And the Mets take the opener of the 4-game series from the Cubs.
Well, the bullpen of the Cubs has been the Achilles heel so far, and we saw tonight 3 walks in this inning, Gary, and a bases loaded walk right here to end it.
The Mets' second walk-off win of the year, their first walk-off walk.
You're so clever.
Well, think about it now. 5 of the last 6 losses for the Cubbies. The bullpen has lost the lead. Happened again tonight with Rocky Cherry giving up those 2 runs, 2 marquee runs.
Well, the Cubs are now 2-8 in one-run games this year, as the Mets come from 4 runs down. They were down 4-0 after 2, but they rallied to tie it, and they win it with 2 out in the bottom of the 9th on the bases loaded walk to Delgado. Kevin Burkhardt is standing by with David Wright. Kevin?
Hi, Gary. David, what are you thinking as Carlos is taking through that at bat? Pretty good at bat, huh?
That's a great at bat. I mean, he fouled off some good pitches, took some close pitches, and just overall phenomenal at bat. If he would have thrown him a strike there, he would have gotten the job done. He just seemed locked in up there, and a superb at bat.
I guess you guys never lost focus in this one. It seemed like this was a game that could have gotten away early, but Tom settled in and you guys settled in.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games where Tom was a little shaky early, but found his way, and it was vintage time. After giving up those runs early, he was lights out. Bullpen came in, did a phenomenal job, and that's what one of this ball game is, not allowing them to get momentum late in the game.
How was your home run? Did you think it was going out?
I was hoping. I didn't. The wind's a little tricky here, so I don't know what was happening, but I hit it pretty good, and I hit it to the right part of the park.
And is this a tough series only because, or a tough game tonight only because you come up a pretty emotional series against the first place team? Not to put the Cubs down, but is this tough to get going in a game like this?
No, not at all. I mean, the Cubs got a good team. When they get it going, they're going to be pretty dangerous. So. They got some good players. We face some great pitchers coming up, so we had to get this one under our belt. It's always good to get that first one in the series.
Hey, Dave, congrats on a big night. Thanks.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, guys, back up to you.
All right, David Wright, a big night, 3 for 4, including a 2-run homer that got the Mets started in the 4th inning. And that's our Panasonic Plasma replay. Panasonic for the speed of sports. And boy, it didn't look as though he got all of it, but he got just enough for his 4th home run of the year to set the Mets